Before we begin, I thought it would be fun if everyone lets me know in the comments where they're watching this video from. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's start today's episode. The experiment with Norman underscored a crucial aspect of artificial intelligence. The data it is trained on fundamentally shapes its behavior. Unlike traditional AI models designed for neutrality or positive engagement, Norman demonstrated how exposure to dark and violent datasets could lead to skewed and unsettling responses. This raises ethical concerns about AI training methodologies and highlights the importance of responsible data selection. MIT's project served as both a technological and psychological study, showing that AI does not possess inherent biases, but rather reflects the nature of its input. The stark contrast between Norman and the conventionally trained AI model emphasizes the significance of carefully curating training data to ensure ethical and constructive AI development. A deeper analysis reveals that Norman's dark and macabre perceptions likely arise from the specific stimuli he was exposed to, emphasizing how influential input data can be. In a study using inkblot images, conventional AI systems typically identified benign objects, such as a vase of flowers or a simple black and white photograph of a small bird. In stark contrast, the specialized AI, Norman, interpreted the same images in a disturbing manner, envisioning violent scenarios like a man being shot or another being dragged into a dough machine. This dramatic difference in interpretations underscores the unsettling potential for AI to diverge from typical perceptions and form ominous associations. E.A.D. Rahowen, a principal contributor to Norman's development, contends that his case unveils a critical insight into the darker facets of machine learning. He stresses that the key factor is the quality and nature of the data used, rather than the algorithm's complexity. This idea reinforces the important concept that the datasets feeding into AI models directly shape their perception of the world and determine their behavior. Such findings raise serious concerns about the future implications of AI innovations, as the ability of a single algorithm to generate vastly different perspectives within an AI system suggests a potential risk of unintentionally embedding biased ideologies. This highlights the possibility that these intelligent systems may acquire predetermined biases based on the data they were initially fed during programming. This phenomenon underscores the critical need for meticulous oversight and ethical considerations in the development and training of AI models. The varying outcomes produced by identical algorithms serve as a stark warning of the potential for unintentional bias amplification within artificial intelligence. When the artificial intelligence system undergoes training using a dataset that contains flaws or inherent biases, it is highly likely to reflect these imperfections in its operations. This scenario carries significant implications for a world where artificial intelligence is poised to assume a pivotal role. The repercussions of such biases being ingrained in AI's behavior could be profound, shaping the course of its interactions and decisions, thereby impacting various aspects of society. Norman was specifically designed to serve as a prime example, illustrating how the psychology embedded within artificial intelligence mirrors the inherent imperfect tendencies observed in human behavior. This exemplifies that there exists no flawless algorithm or formula capable of generating a machine that deviates significantly from human characteristics. When an algorithm undergoes training using content generated by humans, it inherently mirrors human biases and perspectives in its behavior and decision-making processes. This phenomenon occurs because the data used for training is a reflection of human opinions and biases, which the algorithm then incorporates and replicates. Researchers and experts delving into the realm of artificial intelligence in developing nations express apprehension regarding the potential emergence of malevolent AI entities deliberately constructed, akin to the infamous case of Norman. They advocate for increased transparency and stringent regulations within the sphere of AI development and deployment. The concern lies in the hypothetical scenario where advanced AI systems could be manipulated or designed with harmful intentions, posing a significant threat to society. This underscores the necessity for clearer guidelines and oversight in the evolution and dissemination of artificial intelligence. In analyzing how to enhance the data balance in training artificial intelligence and rectify the imperfections in human-generated data, proponents often cite Norman as an exemplar. Norman serves as a case in point to illustrate the necessity of thoroughly evaluating the methodologies employed in AI training. The proponents emphasize the crucial need for meticulous scrutiny of data sourcing and processing to ensure a more nuanced and unbiased dataset for training AI models. Norman's contribution, in line with the expectations of researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, serves as a significant indicator in an area that presents ample opportunities for enhancement and advancement. Norman's involvement has shed light on areas within the field that require further refinement and progress. Artificial intelligence has experienced significant advancements in the modern era, leading to a revolution across various sectors, optimizing operations, and reshaping our interactions with technology. Despite these positive developments, the rising integration of AI into our everyday routines has sparked apprehensions regarding its potential risks to humanity. The progress achieved in artificial intelligence, commonly known as AI, in recent times has been nothing short of remarkable. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence presents a significant and concrete threat to privacy. Powered by vast datasets, AI technologies possess the ability to scrutinize and forecast human actions and inclinations with unparalleled precision. Although this capability can be exploited for tailored marketing strategies and individualized suggestions, it also gives rise to pressing concerns regarding surveillance and the potential for data exploitation. The intersection of AI and data analytics not only enables businesses to target consumers more effectively, but also prompts fundamental questions about personal autonomy and the risks associated with the misuse of sensitive information. In essence, the proliferation of AI underscores the delicate balance between convenience and the protection of individual privacy. AI-driven surveillance systems have proliferated, ranging from the deployment of facial recognition tools by law enforcement agencies to the incorporation of tracking mechanisms within our mobile devices. The continuous gathering of personal data raises significant concerns regarding the infringement of privacy rights and civil freedoms. In the absence of stringent regulations and effective supervision, artificial intelligence has the potential to grant unprecedented levels of authority to both governmental bodies and corporate entities, resulting in a scenario where individuals are subjected to increased levels of surveillance and potential manipulation. This situation poses a grave threat, emphasizing the urgent need for comprehensive frameworks that can safeguard individual rights while ensuring accountability and transparency in the utilization of AI technologies for surveillance purposes. The evolving issue at hand revolves around how artificial intelligence influences employment dynamics. The advancement of automation powered by AI has the capability to replace a substantial segment of the workforce across diverse sectors. Advocates of AI posit that it will engender fresh employment opportunities, particularly within the technology domain. Nonetheless, the process of adaptation for those individuals rendered jobless due to automation can pose challenges, potentially causing economic disruptions and disarray. AI technology presents a significant challenge to low-skilled occupations, as automation continues to replace roles involving repetitive tasks with increasing efficiency. This trend has profound implications, potentially deepening income inequality and fueling social unrest as displaced workers struggle to find alternative employment. To counter these effects, governments and societies must implement comprehensive strategies, including workforce retraining, upskilling programs, and the creation of strong social safety nets to soften the economic impact of job displacement. Beyond job loss, AI systems also have the potential to reinforce and even exacerbate existing biases. Machine learning algorithms derive patterns from historical data, which often contain societal prejudices. This raises concerns about biased outcomes in areas such as predictive policing and lending decisions, where discriminatory patterns can emerge if training datasets are not carefully curated. The lack of transparency in many AI algorithms further complicates efforts to detect and correct these biases. Ensuring fairness, accountability, and transparency in AI development is crucial to mitigating discrimination risks and upholding ethical standards. Achieving this goal requires rigorous oversight, continuous monitoring, and the implementation of robust mechanisms to promote justice and impartiality in AI-driven decision-making. The growing reliance on artificial intelligence is accompanied by a significant escalation in security vulnerabilities. With the advancement of AI technology, there is an increased potential for malicious exploitation by individuals with ill intent. This is particularly evident in the realm of adversarial attacks, wherein malevolent entities manipulate AI algorithms to yield incorrect outputs, leading to potentially catastrophic outcomes. Furthermore, the emergence of AI-driven cyber assaults poses a formidable threat to security infrastructures as they possess the capability to infiltrate secure systems and jeopardize confidential information, critical infrastructure, and even national defense mechanisms. The integration of artificial intelligence in the creation of autonomous armaments gives rise to ethical dilemmas. The implementation of AI-powered weapon systems might result in unforeseeable consequences and lower the barrier for engaging in conflicts, which could escalate tensions and put human lives at risk. The unregulated spread of AI technology within military sectors presents a substantial global security concern with implications that extend beyond national borders. The ethical implications of utilizing AI in developing autonomous weaponry have sparked debates on the moral responsibility and potential ramifications of entrusting decision-making to machines. Beyond immediate concerns, there are also existential threats associated with AI. The prospect of super-intelligent AI capable of outperforming human intelligence in all domains is a topic of intense debate among experts. Such AI systems, if developed without adequate safeguards, could become uncontrollable, leading to catastrophic consequences. Renowned personalities such as Elon Musk have consistently raised concerns regarding the potential dangers associated with the development of superintelligent AI in the absence of a profound understanding of its motivations and ethical values. The crucial issue of aligning artificial intelligence with human values and objectives poses a significant and complex obstacle in the field. Neglecting to tackle this fundamental problem may lead to AI systems pursuing objectives that could be harmful to humanity, highlighting the critical importance of addressing ethical considerations in AI development. It is essential to ensure that the values embedded within AI systems are in sync with those of humanity to prevent potentially disastrous consequences. Artificial intelligence presents a vast array of opportunities and advantages for society. However, it is essential to recognize and confront the associated risks it brings. The implications of AI extend beyond its positive impacts, touching upon critical issues such as the infringement of privacy, displacement of jobs, perpetuation of bias, vulnerabilities in security, and even existential risks that must not be overlooked. Delving into the complexities of artificial intelligence reveals a multifaceted landscape that requires thorough examination. To address these risks effectively, it is imperative for society to establish rigorous protocols and ethical standards governing the advancement and application of artificial intelligence. Ensuring transparency and accountability in AI frameworks, along with ongoing exploration of AI safety measures, is essential for safeguarding humanity's welfare. By enforcing strict regulatory measures and prioritizing ethical considerations in AI development and application, we can navigate the complexities of AI innovation responsibly. Ethical AI usage requires collaboration among governments, corporations, researchers, and the public to ensure that artificial intelligence serves humanity's best interests without causing societal harm or undermining fundamental values. While AI has the potential to drive transformative progress, it also presents significant risks that demand careful oversight. To harness AI's benefits while mitigating its dangers, we must proceed with caution, maintaining a steadfast commitment to ethical standards and safety measures. Remaining vigilant in our pursuit of responsible AI development will enable us to maximize its potential for the collective good while proactively addressing any challenges it may introduce. If you're fascinated by Unsolved Mysteries and enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up to stay updated on all our latest content. Moving on to the next mystery. Despite popular belief, the final frontier extends beyond space to the vast, unexplored depths of our oceans. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, less than 5% of the ocean has been explored, leaving an immense realm of mystery beneath the waves. Each year, underwater archaeologists uncover remarkable findings that expand our understanding of history, reminding us of the many secrets still hidden in the deep. The Ocean X diving team, known for its intriguing discoveries, has extensively documented one particularly enigmatic object resting on the Baltic Sea floor. Dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly, this mysterious structure has sparked widespread speculation due to its striking, disc-like appearance. With a diameter of 60 meters, it lies in the depths of the northern Baltic Sea, fueling theories ranging from an ancient shipwreck to the remains of an advanced aerial vehicle. This remarkable find was made by Peter Lindberg, Dennis Asberg, and their renowned Swedish diving team in June 2011. Recently, the group revisited the site, announcing an update and noting more strange activity while they were directly above the object. The team initially stumbled upon the Baltic Sea anomaly during an expedition to locate an ancient shipwreck. As they passed over the object, their instruments registered an unusual reading that sparked their curiosity. According to Ocean X, the anomaly measures approximately 3 to 4 meters thick with a diameter of around 60 meters. What makes this discovery even more intriguing is that the object appears to rest on a pillar-like structure standing about 8 meters tall, located 85 to 90 meters below the surface. Despite its relatively shallow depth, poor visibility in the area has made thorough exploration difficult. Adding to the mystery, the team experienced unexplained equipment malfunctions when approaching the anomaly, issues that ceased the moment they moved away. Initially dismissing it as coincidence, they repeated the maneuver, only to encounter the same technical disruptions. This has led them to theorize that the object might be emitting some form of electromagnetic field, raising further questions about its true nature. They have conducted multiple tests, consistently experiencing equipment failure whenever they approach the anomaly. According to skilled diver Stefan Hoborn, he experienced a peculiar phenomenon while diving. He mentioned that any electronic devices, including a satellite phone, ceased to function when they were near the object. However, once they distanced themselves approximately 200 meters from the object, the devices began working again. Surprisingly, the devices malfunctioned once more when they returned above the object. Those that looked into the object said that it was natural. However, the divers have contested this claim by pointing out that natural formations do not have the ability to deactivate electrical equipment or possess a disc-like shape. Dennis Asberg, alongside the diving team from Ocean X, has recently unveiled an unprecedented photograph of the anomaly. According to Dennis, this image has never been witnessed before. While he has chosen to withhold certain specifics, he has revealed his intention to delve further into the matter during a podcast hosted by himself and his son. The podcast, named Dennis World, will provide an opportunity for a more detailed discussion on the subject matter. He said that he's released a never-before-seen image of the Baltic Sea anomaly. The picture was taken in 2012, and Dennis said that if you look at the picture, you can see a triangle with a hole. It's hard to see, and, therefore, Dennis uploaded a picture with a red line. And you can see that the plate is covered with sediment as well. And below, you see burnt organic material. The picture was taken on the side of the object. According to individuals who have observed the image, the longer you gaze at it, the more distinct features become apparent. They have noticed the presence of defined edges and openings that directly penetrate the structure, which was initially described during the team's initial exploration. One user remarked that it resembles debris from the ocean with coral growth accumulated on its surface. This perpendicular perspective grants us a more comprehensive view of the object, allowing us to discern a solid entity hidden beneath the coral. Upon the initial identification of the item, the team had inquiries, prompting them to investigate it further. However, their investigation only raised additional queries. As the divers approached the abnormality, they noticed a seemingly dark staircase that extended into the object. Notably, samples were sent for analysis in an attempt to determine its composition. According to Steve Weiner's assessments, the object was determined to not be a natural geological formation, but rather constructed from metals not found in nature. The team from Ocean X mentioned that when they were exploring the depths of the ocean, they observed a colossal structure that appeared even larger due to the darkness. They compared its size to that of a passenger plane and noted the challenges they faced while navigating in such conditions. Interestingly, They noticed a trail behind the object, which was also confirmed by sonar images. This has led to speculations that the object might have crashed and skidded along the ocean floor. The divers discovered visible skid marks in that area. Additionally, the researchers noticed peculiar carvings on the surface of the object, which appeared unnatural. The wreckage is located approximately 90 meters deep, and the muddy waters make it extremely difficult to capture footage or photographs of the site. The team revisited the location once more, deploying a remotely operated vehicle during their investigation. However, when the remotely operated vehicle approached the anomaly at a distance of a few meters, the compass started malfunctioning unpredictably. This strange phenomenon was not limited to a single occurrence. During their initial encounter with the Baltic Sea anomaly, the OceanX team experienced similar disruptions. Peter Lindbergh noted that due to extremely poor visibility and an uncontrollable compass, it became difficult to track the remotely operated vehicle, ROV, accurately. The compass seemed to function independently, and the tether frequently became entangled, adding to the crew's frustration. Many experts and witnesses have reported an anomaly commonly known as the equipment turning off phenomenon, a sudden and unexplained loss of power when encountering unidentified objects. Pilots, fishermen, and even motorists have recounted complete shutdowns of electronic devices, often resuming normal function once the unidentified object departs. Documented cases include instances where planes, ships, tractors, cars, buses, motorcycles, and even lawnmowers have been affected. One particularly striking account comes from a fishing crew who witnessed an unidentified object in the sky. As soon as the object appeared, all electronic devices on their vessel shut down, including their radio transmission to shore. Approximately 15 minutes later, when the object had moved away, everything returned to normal, except for their mobile phones, which were mysteriously drained of power. Surprisingly, similar accounts have been shared by fishermen worldwide, reporting encounters with peculiar objects near their fishing vessels at night, consistently resulting in disturbances to their equipment. Currently, limited research has been conducted on this phenomenon, with only eyewitnesses recounting these experiences. However, some pilots have come forward, attesting to the influence of these objects on their aircraft as well. A fisherman shared the following account of an unusual encounter they had while fishing near Jersey. It was late at night, around 10:30, when the fisherman and his son noticed a distant light. As they approached for a better look, they couldn't discern any details because the object was too far away. However, moments later, the light seemed to descend and land in the ocean, resembling a lantern. Approximately 5 minutes later, the son spotted the light again, but this time it was much closer and moving beneath the water's surface. They observed as it passed under their boat, causing their VHF radio to flicker through different channels. Notably, the boat's lights turned off and the engine stalled. In darkness, they watched as the eerie light traversed the length of the boat. Suddenly, the object ascended from the ocean, swiftly disappearing over the horizon within seconds. Miraculously, once it departed, all on-board equipment powered back on. Despite the vivid encounter, they are unable to determine the nature of what they witnessed. Reluctant to share the story due to potential skepticism, they initially mistook the light for a lantern due to its faint glow. However, upon closer proximity, the vibrant colors of the object made it difficult to focus on. Unfortunately, both their phones were drained of battery that night, preventing them from capturing any photographs. Regardless, they have not encountered the object again since that incident. Many who followed this story believe that the Baltic Sea anomaly couldn't be an unidentified submerged object. USOs, or unidentified submerged objects, are a fascinating and mysterious phenomenon that has captivated the imagination of researchers and enthusiasts alike. While unidentified flying objects are commonly associated with sightings in the sky, USOs refer to unidentified objects that are observed beneath the surface of bodies of water, such as oceans, lakes, and rivers. USOs have been reported throughout history with accounts dating back centuries. Tales of strange objects emerging from the depths have been passed down through generations, sparking curiosity and intrigue. However, it was not until the modern era that USOs began to receive more attention and scrutiny. Numerous reports of USO sightings have surfaced from different parts of the world, including the Bermuda Triangle, the Pacific Ocean, and the Great Lakes. Witnesses often describe the objects as glowing or emitting lights, moving in a controlled manner underwater, and displaying remarkable speed and agility. The explanations for USOs vary, with some suggesting natural phenomena as the cause, while others entertain the possibility of extraterrestrial or advanced human-made technology. One natural explanation is the presence of bioluminescent organisms, which can create light patterns and unusual glows underwater. However, this explanation does not account for the structured movements and high speeds reported by witnesses. Another hypothesis suggests that USOs could be advanced military or experimental submarines or underwater vehicles. The mystery of unidentified submerged objects, USOs, continues to intrigue researchers and enthusiasts alike. While it is well known that various governments have engaged in classified underwater technology research, the lack of official acknowledgement fuels speculation that some USO sightings may be linked to secret military operations. However, without concrete evidence or government transparency, the debate remains unresolved. Studying USOs presents a unique set of challenges. The vastness and extreme conditions of the deep ocean make exploration incredibly difficult, limiting opportunities to gather conclusive data. Additionally, the scientific community has historically neglected USO research, largely due to insufficient funding and the stigma surrounding the topic. Despite these obstacles, reports of USO encounters continue to surface, describing underwater objects that defy conventional explanations. While many cases may be attributed to natural oceanic phenomena or terrestrial technology, the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement remains an open question, one that further fuels public curiosity and debate. Moving on to the next mystery. The use of drone technology in archaeological research has revolutionized the way we explore remote and inaccessible sites. One of the most remarkable discoveries made using this technology occurred in 2013, when a team of archaeologists deployed a small drone to survey Blue Jay, an ancient village in northwest New Mexico, located 43 miles south of Chaco Canyon. Originally uncovered in the 1970s, Blue Jay is believed to date back approximately 1,000 years. It consists of nearly 60 ancestral Puebloan houses, which once surrounded a natural spring. Today, much of the village is in ruins, concealed by overgrown vegetation and sandstone debris from nearby cliffs. While previous excavations have provided insights into the ancient structures, the drone mission significantly expanded our understanding of the site. Equipped with thermal infrared imaging, the drone was able to detect hidden structures beneath the surface, revealing new details about the layout and composition of the ancient settlement. This non-invasive approach allows researchers to map and analyze archaeological sites with unprecedented precision, shedding light on civilizations of the past without disturbing the fragile remains. This let the team, quite literally, see what was hiding beneath the surface. The team revealed structures we have never seen before in a Native American settlement. Needless to say, this was a momentous discovery. Jesse Casana, an archaeologist from the University of Arkansas, said, "I was really pleased with the results." He then went on to explain that studies like this can show just how incredible drones, or UAVs, are in various fields of scientific research. This was not the first investigation of the site, with some excavations having taken place prior. However, the drone images both confirmed the presence of stone compounds we had identified and were already aware of, as well as showing us this new information. Once again, this is great news. The methods we have been using so far are seemingly reliable, and we now have new additional ways to confirm these stone structures without contradicting what we know so far. As with a great number of archaeological discoveries, the thermal images uncovered a lot more than the physical structures. We were also given a window into further cultural understanding. For a while now, Blue Jay has been considered somewhat unusual, a bit of an outlier compared to the surrounding villages. Typically, we expect to see some great houses or kivas, areas of public gatherings or ceremonies, though none of these trademark features of Chacoera Pueblo sites were seen in Blue Jay. The thermal images show a dark circle in the wall of the plaza area. This means we can expect a wetter, colder soil here, which may be filling in spaces where the ceremonies, gatherings, and alike events took place. We know there is an underground circular structure of some sort that had been missed when studying before. Not only can these thermal images show us areas of interest, but it also gives us a clear idea of where we can begin looking and prepare and plan a course of digging with direction in mind before any soil has even been taken up. Kasana said, "Now that we know what household compounds look like in thermal imaging, we could use it to prospect for structures at other sites." This research method is not limited to this one area. The use of drones, thermal, and infrared imaging are all invaluable to so many archaeological sites. The technology works because features like bricks or stone walls keep and release warmth in a different way that the soil that surrounds those features does. This means that even when structures are entirely buried, we can oftentimes view an outline of the structure using heat maps. Of course, the equipment is rather expensive, and high-quality imaging devices are key. It's not a new idea to use thermal imaging. It is just simply an expensive and difficult process to initiate. Despite the groundbreaking potential of drone-assisted archaeology, the technology comes with significant challenges. One major concern is the cost versus the risk of crashing. Kasana, a researcher involved in the project, emphasized that drone crashes are inevitable, stating that it is not a matter of if, but when and how badly. Issues such as hardware malfunctions, software glitches, and unexpected environmental factors can lead to substantial equipment losses, making the technology an expensive investment for research teams. Beyond technical difficulties, there are also legal obstacles. In the United States, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, enforces strict rules and regulations regarding drone operations, including flight restrictions, safety protocols, and permits for research purposes. These regulations aim to ensure public safety and airspace security, but they can also hinder archaeological projects that rely on drones for exploration. While safety and legal concerns remain hurdles, researchers hope for a balanced solution that allows this revolutionary scientific method to continue unlocking new discoveries while maintaining compliance with regulations. Moving on to the next mystery. Concerned relatives quickly reported the Gill family's disappearance to authorities, prompting an official investigation. When police arrived at their rural property, they discovered something unsettling. Despite the family's prolonged absence, their belongings remained untouched, and their livestock was still being cared for. Investigators initially considered the possibility that the Gills had left voluntarily, but this theory quickly unraveled due to the lack of financial transactions, no travel records, and no communication from the missing family members. Suspicion fell on Get, the caretaker who had reported their disappearance, especially since he had been managing the property in their absence. Further searches of the Gill family's land led to the discovery of disturbed soil, fueling speculation that they might have been buried on their own property. However, exhaustive excavation efforts failed to uncover any remains. Over the years, multiple theories have emerged, including murder, forced disappearance, and even supernatural explanations, but no conclusive evidence has ever surfaced. To this day, the fate of the Gill family remains a haunting mystery, leaving behind more questions than answers. This revelation set off a widespread investigation into their whereabouts. Investigators discovered that calls had been made from Reuben Gill's cell phone on January 13th to an unidentified woman in Rosario. The phone remained active until April 2003, 15 months after the disappearance. Additionally, a neighbor claimed to have seen Reuben riding a horse on January 14th, further complicating the timeline. Despite these leads, there was no solid evidence indicating where the family had gone or what had happened to them. Louisa Eva Gill, Reuben's sister, reported the family missing to the police, but initial investigations yielded few results. By February 2003, Judge Jorge Sebastian Galino ordered a more in-depth inquiry, but no neighbors or relatives could provide any useful information. Authorities found it unlikely that the family had left on their own as they had no vehicle, and Margarita had not received her most recent paycheck from the school where she worked. In February 2006, a new theory emerged, suggesting police officers may have been involved in their disappearance. These officers had also worked on cases involving two other missing men, accountant Amado Abib and architect Mario Zapegno. However, this lead was never thoroughly investigated, leaving another potential avenue unexplored. In February 2008, A breakthrough seemed imminent when authorities conducted a raid on the family's home known as La Candelaria Estancia. Using luminol, they discovered traces of blood, though the samples were too contaminated to confirm a genetic match to the gills. They also noted the presence of flies associated with decomposing bodies, but searches for human remains turned up nothing. That same year, forensic psychologists ruled out any psychological or religious motives for the family's disappearance. They described Ruben as a happy and sociable man, though some witnesses claimed he had seemed troubled in the days leading up to the incident. Over the years, searches extended beyond Argentina into Paraguay and Brazil, but none led to any conclusive findings. Various theories emerged, including the possibility of a forced disappearance, a dispute with a landowner, or a personal conflict. However, there were no official records of the family in labor, immigration, or social security databases after February 2002. In 2010, their names appeared in a registry for benefits, but this was later deemed a clerical error. In 2015, a renewed effort was launched under Judge Gustavo Acosta and prosecutor Federico Uriburu. Investigators examined leads in the town of Portina where a rural workers' community had formed, but they found no trace of the gills. A drone was used to survey La Candelaria Estancia, searching for signs of disturbed soil. Investigators also attempted to compare current aerial photographs with historical images from February 2002, hoping to find differences in the landscape that might indicate burial sites. In February 2018, another search was conducted based on a tip from rural contractor Armando Nani. The Gill family's disappearance remains one of Argentina's most perplexing cold cases. Despite years of searching, no definitive evidence has surfaced to explain their fate. Investigators have explored numerous leads, including theories of foul play, land disputes, and hidden burial sites. One notable clue came from a witness who recalled Ruben Gill being visibly distressed about digging wells just days before vanishing. When authorities inspected a water well on the property, they found only animal bones, ruling out one potential lead. Further suspicions arose when investigators discovered a stream with signs of artificial alterations near the property. However, a more in-depth search was postponed due to insufficient funding. Adding to the mystery, Ruben's brother and Margarita's mother urged authorities to examine the basement of the estancia, suspecting it had been sealed off and built over. Yet, this lead also failed to yield conclusive results. Decades later, the case remains open but unresolved, leaving behind a trail of strange clues, unanswered questions, and endless speculation. Moving on to the next mystery. These cold traps are regions where volatile compounds, such as carbon dioxide, can remain in a solid state for extended periods. According to researchers, the discovery of these lunar carbon dioxide cold traps is significant for future space missions, as they could potentially serve as a resource for oxygen production and fuel. Scientists identified these traps in the Moon's south polar region, where permanently shadowed craters prevent sunlight from reaching the surface. The extreme cold, dropping even lower than Pluto's surface temperatures, creates an environment where CO molecules settle and freeze, rather than escaping into space. The presence of solid carbon dioxide on the Moon could be crucial for long-term lunar exploration. If successfully extracted and utilized, it may support life support systems, fuel generation, and sustainable human habitation on the Moon. Cold traps are areas so cold that volatile substances can freeze and become solid. So why does it really make a difference if the CO2 is solid or not? If the carbon dioxide is solid, this means that it can be used to prolong lunar research. In the future, when we send explorers up, whether they are human or robotic, this solid carbon dioxide can provide the necessary materials for fuel and materials for longer expeditions. Furthermore, increasing our understanding of how volatile substances interact on the Moon could help us with research into how water, amongst other elements and compounds, form and may appear on the Moon. Despite this new research confirming the existence of and mapping out the areas for carbon dioxide cold traps, the idea of cold traps has been included in discussions and predictions by planetary scientists for years. To begin confirming these theories and suggestions, researchers used 11 years' worth of temperature data from the Diviner Lunar Radiometer Experiment, a high-tech piece of equipment aboard NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. The 2021 research published in the AGU journal Geophysical Research Letters shows that a number of the cold traps are focused on the lunar South Pole. They span 204 square kilometers. The most concentrated area is in the Amundsen crater, which is home to 84 square kilometers of cold traps. This discovery could pave the way for future lunar resource utilization, potentially supporting sustainable human presence on the moon. If solid carbon dioxide is confirmed, it could be used for oxygen production, fuel generation, and even agricultural advancements in lunar habitats. Upcoming missions, such as NASA's Artemis program, could play a crucial role in further investigating these cold traps. With advanced rover technology and landers, scientists may soon have direct evidence of solid CO deposits, bringing us one step closer to self-sustaining lunar exploration. Moving on to the next mystery. In early 2019, 31-year-old Amanda McClure and her 38-year-old partner, John McGuire, a father of 5, were living in Owatonna, Minnesota. Wanting to visit Sky Gusty, West Virginia, after reconnecting with her estranged biological father, Amanda suggested they take the trip. The couple set off by car, but before reaching Indiana, their vehicle broke down. Amanda contacted her 55-year-old father Larry McClure and requested that he come get them. He consented and brought Amanda Chaudhary, Amanda's 32-year-old sister, along. Larry had been incarcerated for 17 and a half years for the first-degree sexual assault of a minor. He was only recently released from prison. When Amanda was 9 years old and Anna was 10, their father sexually assaulted one of Larry's children or another member of the family. After his release, he was contacted by both of his daughters. Anna had stated that she had only lived with Larry for a short time before to their departure to pick up Amanda and John from Indiana. The group made the decision to buy supplies in Sky Gusty so they could make their own crystal meth. But instead of following a precise recipe, they chose to wing it when trying to create the medication. But the material didn't crystallize the way they had anticipated, so they deemed the batch to be defective. John came to the conclusion that he and Amanda should make a permanent move within the course of the following few days. He declared his love for her and his desire to wed her. However, Amanda's father was not happy to hear this information. Anna said that Larry became silent furious. He frequently pulled his youngest daughter into a corner and had quiet, private chats with her in the days that followed. Later on, Anna would claim that she didn't know what they were discussing and that she hadn't asked. Based on the events that followed, it appeared likely that Larry was gradually turning Amanda against her partner. The party enjoyed a bottle of wine, some steak and potatoes, and a fun day together on Valentine's Day. However, when a little trust game was played, things became worse. John's legs are being tied to a kitchen chair in this situation. Anna said, "I don't know when Larry sat down," describing the apparent moment of change in everything. "I'll never be able to adequately explain that smile." As he stooped over and tried to untie himself, John seemed to sense this abrupt change in the air. But just as he was about to finish, Amanda snatched the wine bottle from the table and smashed it over his head, knocking the glass over. Larry then restrained John's arms. After that, John, who was 38 years old, endured what can only be described as torture. The group badgered him mercilessly, Larry leading the charge and wanting to know John's real identity. John was forced to refute the father of 5's claim that he was a federal agent and provide his social security number as evidence, but he was powerless to stop them. All 3 of the family members severely assaulted John and interrogated him several times over the course of a few days. After some time, Larry gave Anna the order to inject John with the faulty batch of meth they had made. She placed it into 2 syringes and injected John's carotid artery with each of them. Although she was certain this would lead to his death, it did not. Instead, it seemed to fuel John's determination, giving him more energy. He continued to deny every accusation his family had made against him. Eventually, 2 or 3 days after their Valentine's Day dinner, the family carried out the murder. Larry restrained John while Amanda placed a bag over his head, and Anna strangled him with a rope. After killing him, they dug a shallow grave near Larry's trailer, buried his body, and covered it with trash bags. His belongings were tossed into a bonfire. Following John's death, Amanda entered what Anna described as a relationship with their father. West Virginia police later reported that it was sexual in nature. 6 days later, the group began to suspect that John might not have been completely dead, a paranoid hallucination that was probably brought on by the medications they were doing. After excavating the body and hammering wooden stakes into it, the three dismembered John and buried his remains in a side yard. In the hopes of accelerating the rates of decomposition, they threw quicklime on him. It took Amanda and Larry less than 2 months to make the decision to travel to Virginia and exchange vows. Since incestuous marriage was forbidden, they entered a fictitious identity for the bride's father. In her capacity as the couple's witness, Anna was also present. By the time John's family expressed their concerns, it was June 2019. In the hopes that someone had seen him someplace, they posted information about him on social media, asked about, and filed a missing persons report. They didn't seem to know that the 38-year-old and his girlfriend had left town. Amanda persisted in cashing John's Social Security benefits in the meantime. After some time, the family relocated to Kentucky, where Larry was supposed to register as a sexual offender under the law, but he never did. The horrifying tale of the three came to an end as a result of his inability to do so. In September 2019, Larry was arrested by Kentucky police for failing to register as a sex offender. When asked about his prior criminal history, he readily acknowledged to being involved in a murder and blamed both of his daughters for it. Asserted that Amanda was the mastermind behind the whole thing and gave thorough explanations of the murder. He also provided the location of John's body to the investigators. Authorities discovered the 30-year-old's remains on September 24th. Additionally, Amanda and Anna were also taken into custody early in October. In exchange for testifying against her family, Amanda was charged with second-degree murder, while Anna and Larry faced first-degree charges. The three family members entered guilty pleas to the allegations. Larry wrote, "I just want it over," in a letter around this time. No trial funded by tax dollars. Adding, "All I can do is hope for mercy on this." He continued his pleading for pardon. "I will apologize for my involvement in this." He never revealed the crime's motivation. In August 2020, Larry received a life sentence without the possibility of parole for his involvement in the horrifying crime. At Amanda's sentencing trial in October of that year, she testified about her father's actions and expressed her belief that he wanted John dead so he could marry her. She claimed her father killed John because he did not want anyone else around her. During the trial, Amanda and her adoptive parents discussed the strong influence the 55-year-old had over her. However, the court made it clear that despite their history of abuse, it did not excuse her actions. The judge told her, "I don't think you're taking full responsibility for killing John. You're blaming it on your father." The court also stated that no amount of prison time could undo the pain she had caused. Amanda was sentenced to 40 years in prison. At her own sentencing hearing in March 2021, Anna claimed she participated in the crime because her father had threatened to harm her and her children. She also received a 40-year prison sentence. Moving on to the next mystery. An unidentified individual responsible for a series of brutal crimes in the Frankfort neighborhood of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, between 1985 and 1990 is known as the Frankfort Slasher. On August 26, 1985, around 8:30 a.m., transit workers came across the partially clothed body of a woman in a train yard in the northeastern part of Frankfurt. The victim, 52-year-old Helen Payton, had met a gruesome fate. Her legs were spread apart, her blouse was unbuttoned, and her body had been arranged in a suggestive manner. Subsequent autopsies confirmed that she had been sexually assaulted. She had sustained 47 stab wounds, primarily to the head and chest, and a deep abdominal incision had exposed her internal organs. However, this was only the beginning of the terror. A few months later, on January 3, 1986, another body was discovered on the 1400 block of Rittner Street, not far from the first crime scene. Anna Carroll, 68, was found unconscious on her bedroom floor after someone noticed her apartment door left ajar. Like Helen, Anna had been deliberately positioned by the killer and was found partially undressed from the waist down. She had been disemboweled and suffered 6 stab wounds to her back. The kitchen knife used in the attack was left at the scene. After this brutal crime, the infamous Frankfurt Slasher remained dormant for nearly a year. Then, on Christmas Day in 1986, the body of 64-year-old Susanna Osleff was discovered, her fate eerily similar to that of Helen and Anna. Susanna was found in her apartment on Richmond Street, bearing the same injuries as Anna. Just a few weeks later, on January 8, 1987, a restaurant worker stumbled upon Jean Durkin's body behind a storage truck on Frankfurt Avenue. The 28-year-old homeless woman had endured 74 stab wounds and had been sexually assaulted. Like the previous victims, she had been positioned by the killer and was nude from the waist down. Before her brother's passing in the late 1960s, Jean had lived a relatively normal life. She started hearing voices after that and was given a paranoid schizophrenia diagnosis. She had been homeless for the previous 5 years and was frequently spotted sleeping in the doorway of an abandoned bakery that was located a few doors down from Goldie's, a neighborhood pub. Authorities were informed by those acquainted with her that she was not a woman who was easily subdued. Because of how badly Jean battled, 6 police officers had already attempted to arrest her before giving up. Because of this, police theorized that she might have known the person who killed her and had dropped her guard. They also found out that the night before the 28-year-old was put to death, she got into a fight with another lady, Michelle Martin, a client of Goldie's, about a blanket. However, Michelle was eventually excluded from the inquiry. Investigators started piecing the puzzle together gradually. The violent and hateful attacks and abuse of 4 women in the Frankfurt neighborhood cannot have happened by accident. Ultimately, a link between all 4 deaths was established by the investigators. Goldie's was a well-liked pub on Frankfurt Avenue, where they had all been frequent patrons. The neighborhood had a reputation as a center of nightlife and was widely known for its drug users. Though it hasn't been proved either way, there is conjecture regarding the victims of the slasher being sex workers. After this finding, the area was surveyed and a task force was established by the government. When questioned, a female Goldie's barmaid acknowledged knowing most of the victims, even mentioning that Jean typically came in to stay warm. She said that she thought a customer was responsible for the killings, but she gave no explanation or other information. It was discovered that Susanna frequented the pub 3 days before to her death, and that she was constantly interacting with patrons. But Anna was said to have kept quiet and purchased her own beverages. At this point, the authorities made the decision to inform the media that the crimes had nothing to do with one another. Maybe this was done to keep city dwellers from going into panic. Following this, the killings ceased for a year before resuming in January 1988 following the discovery of Margaret Vaughn's body, then 66 years old. She had been stabbed 29 times when she was found laying in the entrance of her 49-100 apartment block on Penn Street. On this occasion, nevertheless, the investigators were slightly fortunate. A barman remembered seeing Margaret the night before with a middle-aged Caucasian bartender who was described as limping and having a round face and glasses. She remembered enough information to allow for the creation of a composite sketch, which was then circulated across the city. Unfortunately, despite the police department's appeal for help, no significant leads emerged. On January 19, 1989, 30-year-old Teresa Sciortino was found alone in her apartment on Arrett Street. She was lying face up, wearing only white socks, with multiple stab wounds on her face, chest, and arms. In addition to being stabbed 25 times, she had been sexually assaulted with a piece of wood. A bloody shoe print was discovered at the scene, but it was never connected to anyone. Investigators also recovered a kitchen knife, which was identified as the murder weapon. When questioned by police, neighbors reported hearing a struggle inside Teresa's apartment, followed by a loud thud, as if something had been thrown to the floor. However, at the time, they did not think much of it and took no action. Teresa was last seen shortly after 6 p.m. with a middle-aged white man, around the same time the disturbance was reported. By this point, she was known to be a regular at Goldie's. Following her murder, the Frankfurt slasher remained inactive for more than a year. Not until April 19, 1990 did they launch another attack. Carol Dowd, 46, was found in an alleyway close to a fish market at around 2 in the morning by a patrolling police officer. A slit had exposed her internal organs, and she had sustained 36 stab wounds. But after investigating Carol's past, authorities discovered another significant relationship between a number of their victims. In the years preceding their deaths, Teresa, Carol, and Jean had all been admitted to and discharged from mental hospitals. When Teresa was killed, she was still receiving treatment as an outpatient. After Carol was discovered, police turned their focus to the fish market, where they started questioning the staff. They paid particular attention to Leonard Christopher, a black man who lived nearby and was acquainted with Margaret Vaughn, one of the victims. He claimed to be 39 years old and to have been with his girlfriend the night Carol was killed, but his partner claimed that Carol had been by herself the entire time. Leonard was the most wanted man in law enforcement since he had no alibi, and it didn't take long for them to arrest him. Even though there was no evidence of blood, no motivation, no weapon, and several witnesses had seen the women with white men before to their deaths. On May 5, 1990, Leonard was taken into custody. The witness statements were inconsistent. While two witnesses stated they had seen Leonard and Carol stroll into an alley together around the time of her death, many who knew him said he was a fine man and had not been anywhere near the murder locations. The majority of the reports of the man who was last seen with the victims, including Carol herself, did not match his description. The 39-year-old was on trial for murder on June 20th. A few months later, on September 6, 1990, Michelle Martin's, 30, also known as Michelle Denner, body was discovered in her flat. She had suffered 23 stab wounds. Her body had been positioned, her organs showing. She was a frequent visitor to Goldie's and had recently undergone mental health treatment. She shared a street with Teresa and lived only 3 streets away from Carol. Moreover, this woman was the same one who had argued with Jean the previous evening before Jean's murder. Additionally, Michelle was seen the day before she died with a middle-aged white male who matched the slasher's original description. The jury was not informed of this crime, even though Leonard Christopher was incarcerated awaiting his sentence and could not have committed this murder. On December 12, 1990, Leonard was finally found guilty and given a life sentence, where he eventually passed away from cancer. He preserved his innocence all of his life. Other than Leonard, not much is known about potential suspects in the Frankfurt slasher case. According to an early 2019 NBC article, a suspect who identified as a minister vanished during a police interrogation, but not before providing DNA samples. At an additional elaboration, a CBS piece states that the offender rented an office at a neighboring church and pretended to be a counselor providing advice and comfort. The police reportedly learned about the death of their main suspect in 2008. After being questioned, the suspect disappeared, and the killings came to a halt. His identity has never been publicly disclosed, and to this day, no concrete evidence directly links him to the crimes. For a time, investigators suspected a connection between the Frankfurt slasher and the murder of 29-year-old Catherine Jones, who was found dead on the street in January 1987. She had been brutally bludgeoned and was discovered half-dressed, her body frozen. However, it is now believed that her case was unrelated to the slasher's crimes. The case's current investigators also acknowledge that Leonard, a previous suspect, was likely wrongfully convicted. As of now, the Frankfurt slasher case remains unsolved, offering no closure to the victims' families. Moving on to the next mystery. Barbara Bullock, a 55-year-old hiking enthusiast, once shared her love for the outdoors with her husband until he suffered a heart attack and could no longer join her. Determined to continue hiking, she began going on treks with friends. On July 18, 2007, she set out on a hike in the Bitterroot Mountains with a family friend, Jim Ramaker. According to Jim, at one point during their hike, he paused briefly to admire a scenic overlook. When he turned back, Barbara had vanished. He estimated she had been walking 20 to 30 feet behind him before she disappeared. Jim also recalled that during their hike, they had briefly spoken with 2 young men, but neither of them ever came forward. One was described as having a medium skin tone with reddish-brown hair, while the other had darker skin and black hair. The 2 men may have been driving an older, light-colored Chevrolet SUV with Montana license plates. They appeared to be in their early 20s and had a black mixed-breed dog with white markings. Authorities are seeking to speak with them, not as suspects, but because they might have valuable information regarding Barbara's disappearance. Despite this, Jim Ramaker remained the primary suspect in many people's eyes. If he had been responsible, some argue that he could have crafted a more elaborate story rather than simply stating that Barbara vanished without a trace. It's possible Jim heard her fall and chose to ignore it. But if that were the case, wouldn't she have been found by now? While some suggest Barbara left voluntarily, this theory seems unlikely. If she had planned to disappear, why would she have invited someone along in the first place? A more plausible explanation is that someone, perhaps the two young men who never came forward, was involved in her disappearance. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed exploring these intriguing unsolved mysteries with me. If you found the video fascinating, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Unsolved Mystique for more deep dives into unsolved mysteries. Your support helps me bring you more compelling content. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or any mysteries you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next video.